Hello and welcome back to the Squared Circle with myself, Mr. David Alorka.
And myself, Jo Aujla.
That's right, we got a lot to get into on this roundup episode. We're rounding up all that went down on the Four Crown Showdown. Now, what an absolutely epic event in Riyadh. Now, we're going to go into the controversies and all of the meat and potatoes, or I like to say in the last episode, the rice and the meat.
Yes, yeah.
But let's first of all just take our hats off to what an absolutely sensational event to kickstart Riyadh season.
What a fight. Everything that we expected happened and more. Brother, you know when we all said it's a 50-50 fight and this is it's a blockbuster and, you know, this is what we're expecting, just a thrilling show, right? Do we actually really, really mean it when we say it? I don't know, but when I saw that fight, I was actually more than satisfied watching that fight, bro. First of all, well done to Artur Beterbiev and well done to Dmitry Bivol. Just an amazing fight. I'm speechless, to be honest. I still get goosebumps thinking about that fight, bro.
Yeah, it definitely lived up to expectations. And for me, it's not just about that. Like, that fight is the crowning glory and the crowning glory of the conversation that we're going to have today. But for me, the entire event, like all of the fights on the undercard, there was so much to talk about. There was so much buzz going off on Twitter surrounding it. You know what I'm saying? And then obviously you had Sierra, you had freaking Busta Rhymes, you had, you know what I'm saying,
Wow,
Missy Elliott.
Did you see Busta Rhymes applauding like you know what's going on during the rounds? I was like, bro, what you on about, bro?
Hey, listen, don't worry. Busta knows what's going on around here.
Shout out Busta Rhymes, bro.
All right, cool. Let's start at the top, which is where you went to.
Yeah.
Beterbiev, Bivol, the fight that we've been waiting years for has finally happened. And the goosebumps that I was feeling before the fight had started, like, this was one of the most tightly contested fights in a generation.
Bro, you know, just watching the fight as a fan, someone who appreciates the sport, the heart, the will to win, the IQ, the boxing skills. Do you know what I mean? It had everything you want in a fight. If you ever wanted to watch what elite boxing is, that's the fight you watch. It was just an elite showdown, and it definitely lived up to expectation, and it was more. It was just an amazing fight, David. Genuinely, like, I've never just sat there and just been quiet and just was just zapped into it. I felt like I was sucked into the TV. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It was an amazing show, bro. It was a fantastic fight. What a fight. Shout out to both fighters. Just amazing, bro.
Now, results aside, talking about the way in which the fight itself played out.
Yeah.
Did it play out in the way in which you thought it would?
I said in the previous episodes about, like, when we done the preview predictions episode, right? I said Bivol would win on like majority decision. The shock was Beterbiev won a majority decision.
Listen, I'm not talking about the results. I'm talking about, because we're going to do the results afterwards. I'm just about how you saw the fight play out. So as the rounds were going, was you feeling like, yeah, this is pretty much how I saw the fight going?
First 6 rounds, yes. We know Beterbiev is a late bloomer. He comes into the rounds late, comes into the fight late in the rounds. So he probably starts kicking up at like 4, 5, 6. He starts turning up, right? And so I did expect Bivol to win, bank a few rounds at the beginning. I'll talk about later how I scored the fight, but in terms of the beginning, I did expect that to happen. It just kept going back and forth. Talk about turning tides, bro. It just kept Bivol seemed like he was improving and getting into the fight. Then Beterbiev was coming back. The ironic thing is, right, both fighters, although someone was winning more rounds than the other, then vice versa, every round they were just improving more and more and more, regardless of which fighter that was losing the rounds. You just felt Beterbiev's coming. He's coming, he's improving, he's getting into it, even though Bivol's winning the rounds. And then you see Bivol, he's getting a rhythm, he's starting to get into it as well. Even though at the times Beterbiev was winning the rounds as well. So, yes and no to answer your question, to be honest. But yeah, it was definitely just turning tides. It was going back and forth.
It was a real display for me of elite level boxing because you had two individuals here who truly showed the extent of their fitness, because usually you'd see fighters wane as the fight goes on, and you'd see gaps and you'd see opportunities that wouldn't be present earlier on. But it didn't turn out that way at all. Like you said, it was like the latter end of the fight was as strong as the former end of the fight. It was just an absolute beautiful 12-round showcase of great boxing.
That's what it was, and the condition is ridiculous from both fighters. You know, Beterbiev 39, coming back from a 5-month surgery, and the way
listen, you thought his body was going to break down.
I thought he was going to break down, to be honest, but I don't know. He's not human, bro. It just doesn't make sense. But the conditioning was ridiculous. I was just mesmerized, to be honest. Like when I was watching Bivol specifically, like I was actually looking at this as what like inspirational performance he's putting on at the time. When although Beterbiev had done his thing as well, right? But when Bivol was continuing fighting on the back foot, lateral movement, you know, punching consistently, going for it, yeah. He was doing things that Beterbiev's never endured, and vice versa. And like the amount of heart, determination, the will to win for Bivol, the way Bivol performed that night, I was genuinely inspired, and my admiration for Bivol just went to another level, bro. Genuinely,
which is nuts to think, because your admiration for him was on, you know, cloud 9 on sky high before. So right now it's reaching the heavens. Now let's talk about the way in which you scored the fight. So there's been a lot of controversy around the way in which the results of the fight went, especially one of the scorecards. How did you score the fight? Was you scoring it round by round?
So while I was watching the fight, I don't like to score fights watching it live, because I just want to enjoy the fight. I don't want to be like get my little pencil and just be sweaty with it. And I'm not like, and I feel like a lot of people want to enjoy the fight, bro. I'm not a judge. I'm not working on a TV channel to score fights anyway, like Chris Mannix or something like that, right? But I feel like when you watch a fight, everyone really has a feeling who they thought won at the end, regardless of scoring. So any fight, you feel like, oh, this person won or the other person won, right? But generally, in my heart, I generally 100% believed it was a draw, or Bivol winning by like a round. But in my heart, I was 100% convinced it was a draw, right? And obviously, like speaking to like some of my boys, which they're quite big Beterbiev fans, and I was like, bruv, is it me? Like, am I just being like biased? Even although I didn't pick a winner, I didn't care who won, to be honest. So today I actually scored the fight myself, and 114. First 3 rounds, Bivol. Then next 3 rounds, Beterbiev. 3 rounds after that, Bivol. And then the last 3 rounds, Beterbiev.
Okay.
That's generally how I scored it.
Okay.
Generally, hand on heart.
Okay.
So now, in my heart and in my head, I am 100% convinced it was a draw.
All right. Okay.
I just feel it's so harsh and unfair to call Bivol a loser on the night. I didn't want to call any of them the losers on the night.
Nah, for me personally, I think, like, you know, people say all the time, oh, his stock rose in defeat. But I genuinely think that Bivol's stock has risen monumentally in defeat, because just the way in which he has gone about it, like, he takes full accountability and responsibility for everything. Like, he's not looking at the judges or this or that, especially as a man who has won a huge majority of his fights by decision. He isn't looking at the judges or looking at anybody else as the reason as to why he lost the fight. He's like, I need to be better. And that is the making of the man. Now, if you're going to ask the way in which I saw the fight, right? Yeah. You know, it's funny because, you know, I was watching the fight, and then I think somewhere during the fight I looked at on Twitter and I saw Tony Bellew's round by round thingy. At one point it was like, yeah, Beterbiev is 3-0 down. And I was thinking, all right, cool. I'm kind of with you on that. Oh, I can see it, because there was a lot of close early rounds. There were very definitive winning rounds, but there were few. There were few clear definitive rounds. And the ones that I remember very clearly is round number 9. That was a clear Bivol round. Clear.
Yeah.
Round number 10 for me was a clear Beterbiev round. Yeah. But during the fight, there were rounds that I could see going this way or I can see going that way. By the time we got into round 8, I had it 4-4. When we got into round 10, I had it 5-5. So when it came to 11 and 12, I can see why some people had it 7 rounds to 5. For example, Gareth A. Davis at the end, he came in and said that he had it 7 rounds to 5 before. He had it by, I think he said 8 to 4 before, but he's revised it after. Okay. He's revised it after looking at.
Good, because I saw that tweet and I was fuming when I saw that.
But why are you? The funny thing is, I understand that some people. So tell me first, why are you fuming? What makes you fuming by that scorecard?
I'm genuinely incensed by that judge that scored it 161. I'm disgusted and it's so distasteful, because you have to remember Bivol, like as well as Beterbiev, they put their heart, their soul, their energy, all their being into this night. Since Bivol's been, I don't know, I think he started boxing at like 7 years old, he says. All of this was for this moment. He always said, I don't want to be a champion, I want to be the champion. It was always undisputed. It was never to be a world champion like many boxers are. Many boxers' dreams is to be a world champion, any of the 4 belts. Bivol was to be undisputed, right? So when you put all of your time, your energy, everything about your life was for that night, and just to get a random judge with this, just to give a sloppy scorecard, a poor scorecard, it's disgusting. That's how someone can do that in their own hands. Look, I don't mind 115, 113, either way. I don't mind it.
It doesn't matter what you mind, though. You see, the thing is, I was having this conversation earlier on today, right?
Yeah.
Scorecards are quite funny because they could denote one thing, but they could also not denote that same thing. So, for example, I said to somebody today, scorecards is not football, right? And it's hard for people that watch sport to look at a scorecard and be like, oh, that looks like my man got battered. But it doesn't necessarily mean that. It can mean that. So, for example, if you've got a scorecard saying 120, 108 or something like that, that could clearly mean that someone's got battered. But sometimes the tighter the fight, the wider the scorecard. And I know it sounds crazy, but it just means that specific judge counted those tight rounds to one specific fighter, because the style of that fighter to that judge, maybe that's what they prefer. And that's the way, and although it doesn't look nice, and although it doesn't sound nice, and although for the vast majority of people, they look at the overall sense of the fight and it goes, nah, that scorecard is horrendous. But for me, I don't see it as horrendous, because if you're saying that it was a tight and close fight, it means that some of those rounds could have gone this way and some of those rounds could have gone that way. And all that happened in those tight rounds is that judge was probably looking at the aggression of Beterbiev and said, all right, cool. It's a tight round. I'm going to score that round for Beterbiev because he was applying the pressure. He was the one on the front foot. He was the one that was, and that is it. That is it. It doesn't work out because you've done that now. The next round, because you want to make the fight, the scorecard seem closer. That my man now wins that round, but I'm not going to give him, because you have to. The fight is scored round by round on its own merit. Each round is its own football game, so to speak. So depending on how the judge sees it, that's the way in which it goes. It doesn't look good. It doesn't sound well when it looks at when you hear those numbers, because it looks like, bruv, hold on, that's not what I saw when I was watching the fight. But it's just testament of the tightness of the fight, and the judge accrediting those rounds that could have gone either way, the swing rounds, to one fighter instead of the other.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I'm still disgusted just because, bro. No, bro, I am. I am disgusted, but bro, because you're saying the tightness of this fight. If it's so tight, then why is it eight rounds to Beterbiev? It just can't be that, bro. Listen, it just can't.
Because I tell you why.
David, it does.
I tell you why.
I just can't accept that, bro.
And that's fine. But
I can't.
But the same thing I said. If we are to sit here right now and was to watch the fight together, I could clearly ask you, what were the clear Beterbiev rounds? What were the clear Bivol rounds? And you would name them, right? And then in the balance, you would have about 5 or 6 rounds that are tight, that you, because you like the slick nature and the defensive fighter and the quick hand speed of Bivol, some of those you'd give to Bivol. Somebody else is not going to prefer the back foot boxing, and they will give those fights to the foot, and that's simply what I'm saying. It's not there was no clear one-way beatdown in this fight. For me, I saw the fight as a draw.
Yeah.
Right? Same as the first judge, right?
Yeah.
They had it, 114.
Yeah.
But if the fight ended up going this way or that way, I couldn't be upset.
Yeah.
But and I know it's the width of that's what I'm saying. But
That's what my argument is,
But
bro.
the problem with that is it doesn't take into account the nature of the sport. And the sport judges things round by round.
Yeah.
And if rounds are tight, this judge might prefer this style of boxing. And that is why they've given that. I can't complain about that.
No, I hear you, and I agree to you to a certain extent. It's just look, judges. It's all opinions, right? You can prefer the. I know that the classic argument is the ring generalship Beterbiev used, and the mental pressure, the cutting off the ring, like never taking, always on the front foot, never took a back foot once, by the way. But then again, it was really impressive. Bivol always fighting on the back foot. That's elite stuff, bro. But look. I hear what you're saying, and it seems like we're on the same page. Yeah, I just don't feel comfortable about simply giving 8 rounds. I know you're gonna say it's all opinionated and it's about the tightness of the rounds. I get that, I understand that, and I hear that, right? But it's more of the fact of I just feel like because it was such a close fight, yeah, like a 115, 113 would be good. Right, that's all I'm asking for. I'm not mad at the result, but I just don't like the scorecards, bro.
but that's what I'm saying. But that is boxing. So basically, either you have to change the way in which boxing is scored completely, right, and let it be scored on an overall basis, and then you would have things that sound closer when you've got closer fights. But you won't have a round by round situation because, like I said, if I send you home, man, I say go home, right, and go and watch the fight and tell me the clear rounds that are for each, you would see a gaping gap of several rounds that could go either way. 100%. The majority of people will look, and people that are for Bivol will probably score those for Bivol, and people that are for Beterbiev will probably score that for Beterbiev. Then you have people that like defensive fighting will score those Bivol. People that like aggressive fighting will score that for. And that's just the way it goes. That's the nature of boxing in itself. So yes, wide scorecards could mean somebody got battered, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the case. It can mean it's a very tight fight, and this particular judge preferred this style. This is not no robbery. This is not no disgrace. This is not no situation like Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor. This is not the case over there. And when we have when we out here crying, oh, this is a disgrace, it's a robbery, and so on and so forth, what that does is it diminishes the value of saying that something's a robbery when clear robberies have happened. This is not a Triple G Canelo. This is not one of those situations where, oh my days, it was a very, very close fight that opinions will differ across the sport depending on what people like. And for me, that is fine. For me, that is what warrants another fight. And that's exactly what I want. People look to the demeanor of Beterbiev after the fight and the demeanor of Bivol after the fight and go, oh yeah, but Beterbiev, obviously knew he lost and so on and so forth. But it's like, well, you could say that, but Beterbiev has never ended a fight with the other person on their feet. So, of course, he's going to feel upset and sad and disappointed. And the reality of the fact that he was in there, it was a close fight. He may not get the rub of the green because he didn't do what he does. Likewise, on the other side, you have Bivol, who, for the majority of the part, finishes the fight with the other person on their feet. So he would be confident at the end of the fight after doing what he does and not touching the canvas. So I could see clearly why Beterbiev will be upset because this is a new feeling. My whole professional career, the other person has always left on their back. And so of course I'm going to be disappointed. Of course I'm going to have some trepidation and thinking, oh my days, this could be. And at the same time, he was in the fight. He knew it was a very tough fight. He didn't get his way. He didn't have his way with Bivol. Bivol was a very tough operator. And
what a fighter,
yes, brother, listen, and that's what for me, I'm saying, I need to have this fight announced soon so that, I'm saying, I can start salivating once again. I hope, obviously I don't like belts being held up and I don't like divisions being held up, belts, I hope it's for all the belts. I hope it's for all the belts. I don't want a situation that it doesn't occur in that way. And to be honest with you, like I said, Bivol was so was and is so incredibly gracious in defeat. I think he has won so many fans.
He's won me as a real
He
fan.
has won so many fans because of the way he's gone about it. And when I say he's gone about it, once again, I'm not saying gone about it because he's been robbed. I'm saying the way in which he's gone about the disappointment of reaching that mountaintop and not being awarded the crown at the end. So yeah, for me, he's been absolutely gracious in defeat. He's looked inward and looked within himself and says, you know what, I need to do better. I need to make it more conclusive. I need to be, and that's for me. That's
Respect
the thing that's what challenges me as an individual and says, you know what, yeah, the whole world is telling me, as in him, the whole world is telling me, oh, you won the fight. You should be incensed. You should be outraged. You should. This is not your fault. This is the judges. Some people are saying, "Oh, it's top rank. Oh, it's because of this and it's because of that." And he, after being given every excuse by everybody around him, is going, "Nah, I'm not taking no excuse. I'm not taking none of that. I need to be better. I need to be perfect. I need to go back and work and do more." And for me, that is the heart of a champion, a real warrior, and somebody who I'm sure is going to wear that 4 crown in the future.
Do you know what? It's so true what you've just said, right? And the amount of admiration and respect I've gained towards Bivol, right? I actually started to look at Usyk, bro. Like genuinely, because I like a fighter, not just about their fighting skill and how good they are, how they conduct themselves out the ring as well, right? And Bivol, like, it's mad to me. He's a better man than me, generally, because I would be vexed. I mean, this is a robbery. I got robbed, bro. I would tear the whole place down, bro. Right? Because that was the thing he worked his whole life for, bro. And imagine you worked your whole entire life for something, right? Since you can remember. And then you feel like he probably feels like he did enough. I don't know whether he admitted it or not. I'm pretty sure. But if I was him, I'd feel like I did enough to win. So I think, that the fact that the way he conducted himself after, he's a champion out the ring.
He is. And for a man who has set his whole career, in essence, in the hand of the judges, when the judgment didn't go in his way, he hasn't blasted the judges. Yeah. Because for the entirety of his of his career, for the large part, it's judgments that have decided his fate. Yeah. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't blown away his opponents. I'm saying it has
he's used to what he's used to.
Exactly. No, so if you are going to accept the judgments when you win, you have to then accept the judgment when you lose. And he did it with graciousness, an absolute real G. And I cannot wait to see him come back. We have been rapping about this one for a long time, and we definitely could continue rapping about this one for a long time, but there was a lot going on in this card, so we need to start making our way down the card. Right. So let's kick it off talking about Fabio Wardley, Frazer Clarke.
How wrong was I? How wrong was we actually? You said you agree with me actually. How wrong, bro? You know, when I was watching that fight, so you know the build up for the first fight and how Boxer basically just kept swerving those matchroom little bids for Fabio Wardley versus Frazer Clarke, right? Remember the build up saying Boxer kept saying he's not ready yet, and that fight we saw yesterday, that was the reason why they were scared for that to happen, and ironically it happened when they were more confident in the rematch, bro. Genuinely, for the first time in my life, there's two times I've ever felt away in the ring. That was a Callum Smith fight. I forgot what card. I think it was under AJ card or someone else's card. I forgot, where he basically knocked someone out on the undercard, and then his opponent was on the floor and his legs just started frazzing out, like had a seizure. And yesterday, when I saw Fabio literally put a dent in the side of Frazer's like cheekbones, like side of the head, like there was a dent after like someone hit a car. And when I saw Frazer on one of his knees, and the ropes obviously held him up, and the way his lip was there, and it was still bro. Generally, I just stopped and started praying, bro. Like generally, that was one of the most That was scary,
Yeah,
bro. That
listen.
was scary. And this game is not. It's not a joke. We do it
Boxing-
for entertainment, but it's not a joke.
You don't play boxing, and
No.
that's one of those moments like where my heart was so heavy. Like, you know, like we were talking about Frazer Clarke. He's an absolute gentleman, and you know, Fabio went into that fight, right? Like, I am going to destroy you. He went into that fight with the knowledge and with the confidence. You see, confidence as a fighter, right, is so important.
Everything, innit?
He went into that fight doing exactly what he said throughout all of those face-offs.
Yeah.
And gloves are off. So he went in there saying, I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna change nothing.
Yeah.
I know that without changing anything, I put you on the canvas, right? So I'm just gonna do it more. That's all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in and do it more. And ahead of that, like in the first minute and a half or so, minute and a half of the fight, Frazer was getting some nice success on the jab. It was his game plan looked like it was working. But you see, when you're fighting somebody who hasn't been through the amateur system and is quite a novice, he's going to fight his fight. And his fight isn't what you're supposed to do in that squared circle.
Yeah.
So the reactions that Frazer Clarke is expecting, especially through the people that he sparred with and so on and so forth. He's sparring with other people who are boxers who have trained to boxers all their life.
As well.
Exactly. So his bank of experience doesn't come from the same well as Fabio Wardley's does.
Yeah.
And so when you're facing a relentless beast like Fabio Wardley, you know, he just went into there like a man possessed and took my man's soul.
I definitely think there's an ignorance of fear with Fabio. He doesn't know what fear is because he's never had to experience it. And a lot of people were saying, I think a lot of us was thinking this is round 13. It was round 13 for just Fabio in that. I think Frazer was probably not, and he wasn't even warm, was he? Like, he was probably getting into fight. He was going to build it up. And just the element of surprise, not even surprise, just a shock of getting buzzed. And then, then Frazer flung into the ropes. And then Frazer landed a nice little uppercut there, after Fabio's landing combination. But after Fabio just literally destroyed him, broke him.
Fabio Wardley, like I said, went in there like a man possessed. Yeah. He went in there like a true gladiator to destroy him.
He really did, yeah.
He went in on a one-track mission destruction, and it was devastating, and it was scary. And it shook the arena. It shook people in their homes. That knockout, like, is still reverberating in me right now. Just mentally, just thinking about it. It was, one of the most shocking and usually, like, knockouts look spectacular when people hit the canvas and on the floor. But this was like the look on his face. Like, I was scared, bro.
Yeah. No, bro. Genuinely, like, I can still see Frazer. I'm actually kind of not like, oh, it will bother me for the rest of my life, but I'm still feel away when I keep thinking, like, I'm a bit scarred just seeing Frazer's face like that. And look, we love boxing. It's the sport we love, like, and there's so many different things we talk about in the sport, but I don't think we actually talk enough about the risks and what it can really happen. You know, we can talk about Eubank Watson, for example, Nigel Benn, like there's so many things that's happened in the ring, like Eubank Jr as well with Nick Blackwell. Do you know what I mean? So there's there's many scenarios, bro. But pray, hope Frazer's good. That's all we can do is pray and hope.
Man.
I haven't really heard anything.
Nah, not too. I heard he went to hospital after that.
Ben Shalom went to hospital with him straight after.
Yeah, so we just pray that he gets well soon. He gets that brain scan. Yeah. And we just pray that he's all right because that was absolutely devastating. You know, so let's move on down the card ahead of that fight.
One more question on that because I know it was a short fight. There's been a lot of questions about who we want Fabio to fight next, right? I'm gonna give you 3 options that people was talking about. They're talking about Jermaine Franklin, Big Baby, and Jared Anderson as his next opponents. What do you think about that? Obviously, that's a big step up for Fabio. What do you think about those opponents as his next fight?
Man said Big Baby or Big Baby.
That's literally what they're saying, bro.
Great. I think those are great oppositions. I think Franklin. I think he'll blow away Franklin. To be honest with you. Big Baby Miller is quite durable. So that fight could go on for some
What
for
about
some
Jared
time.
Anderson?
Jared Anderson is Turkey's guy. Turkey loves him. I don't know if he's going to
I
throw.
kind of want to see that fight.
I don't think he's going to throw him into that
Really?
right now.
I'd
Nah.
like to see that
But
fight.
then again,
Why
you
not?
know, Turkey likes to roll the dice.
You don't want boring
Yeah,
fights.
he likes to roll the dice.
why
He
not?
said some of these men don't want to come Saudi.
Yeah.
They don't want to come Saudi because they want easy fights. Turkey's not about the easy fights. Turkey's about putting everything on the line. Now, let's go. Let's talk about a fight that, you know, a matchup that I guess not everything was put on the line.
Yeah, speaking of easy fights, yeah.
Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
How did you see his performance?
You know, it was quite. I have two opinions on this, right? It was a good performance for the amount of knockdowns he had, and like, you know, the body knockdowns, and I remember there was a round where he landed 2 uppercuts in a row, which no one does that. Like, he was taking the mick, really. And to be honest, I did expect him to take the mick. I remember messaging you and saying, bro, is it me or does Chris just look so weak at the weight, even though he's dominating the fight?
Yeah, his legs looked like they were out of here, man. He looked very, very leggy in that fight. It looked like, you know, because his opponent didn't have much power, you couldn't see the fullness of what that 160. Because for me, he needs to go up to 168.
I think so too.
But he's going to hang around 160 at least for one more fight because that's where the big money is.
Yeah, I think Chris has too much of an ego to accept that he has to move up. And also, bro, if you use in the fight, how many times did Zerameta just put a little bit of weight on him and Chris just went down? So many times. I lost count, you know. He needs to move up, but he ain't going to move up for that Conor Benn fight. What do you think about Conor Benn, Chris Eubank? Any predictions? We might do a prediction video when that is announced.
Hey,
what do you think of the little face-off they had with Neymar?
Right now, all cards go over to the BBOC. It goes over to the British Boxing Board of Control because all this standing in the ring, face off, this and that, like, it's all well and good, and the fight is being, you know, beefed up and teased. But I think things have been sorted out behind the scenes. There hasn't been no formal announcement yet, but I think the fact that the face off did happen in a British Boxing Board of Control sanctioned ring.
Yeah,
I think things are in place to bring Conor Benn back to the fore.
I think Conor and the British Boxing Board of Control have definitely had conversations that we don't know about, because everyone is so confident that he's going to fight beginning of next year, right? And for the last 2 years, we've all been saying he's still banned. He's not been had his ban uplifted yet. Blah blah blah. But it seems like everyone is on the same page.
It's happening, and I think it's going to happen. To be honest with you, I think it's going to happen at Spurs Stadium.
I was going to say, do you think UK or Saudi?
I think it's happening at Spurs Stadium. I've heard Chris, not Chris. I've heard Conor talking about in front of 60,000.
Yeah, he said it a few times.
You know, when I hear 60,000, I'm like, well,
Spurs, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where it's going to go. It's definitely not happening in an arena because those tickets were the fastest selling tickets of any arena.
Was it O2?
O2, it was insane.
Yeah, I heard
it was
that,
insane.
yeah.
I was getting phone calls from big people in business, you know, trying to get tickets.
Really?
So it was madness. But so you know, we look to hear fight news surrounding that very soon.
Who do you think the favourite in that fight is, just quickly?
I think after this fight has gone, I think the favourite is going to shift to Conor Benn.
Although we haven't seen him we've seen him, I think, once or twice in the last 2 years, whatever.
Yeah, but after that performance, Chris didn't look strong. That's the problem. Chris didn't look strong. So I think I think Conor Benn's going to be the favourite.
From one dominating performance to another in Opetaia versus Jack Massey, can I just say, Jack Massey, brother, you got heart, man. Genuinely, like, although I was really like mesmerized and impressed by Opetaia showing he is the best cruiserweight in the world, I just kept thinking, wow, Jack Massey's got mad heart, bro.
No, he does.
Never say die.
He showed tremendous heart, and he was not going to give up in that fight.
He was getting beat up bad as well.
But he was going to come off that stool all the way until the end, or until he left on his shield. So you know, big credit to the training team getting him the heck on out of it, because you know, Opetaia would have got him the hell on out of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, look, there's not really a lot to talk about on that fight because it was just a beating, to be honest. But what I do want to ask is, do we now? I'm going to ask you two questions. I do think the Beterbiev and Bivol rematch is going to be the next fight.
Yep.
But Jai was speaking a little bit if Beterbiev moved up or Bivol. I don't think Bivol would have moved up anyway, but Beterbiev was looking to go cruiserweight after this fight, and Jai welcomed that fight. So, can you ever see a Beterbiev Jai Opetaia fight in the future?
Yes, the answer is yes, and I'd love to see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see if Beterbiev's power carries at that level, and I'd love to see somebody that has a lot of power like that test Jai's chin. And obviously we've seen Jai's jawbone being broken and he's still fighting. So that guy is a warrior.
I mean, to be fair, Beterbiev is quite a big light heavyweight. So I think he's fought at cruiserweight before in the younger days. But the next question is, do we see unifications for Jai Opetaia now? We got that Zerdo versus Bill and Smith fight happening in November.
Yep.
Is it time now for unifications?
100%. Winner of that fight needs to fight Jai Opetaia. If they don't, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they don't want that Saudi money. You see what I'm saying? Go over there, go speak to Turkey, and go get that money. Now, we're going to move on quickly to Sky Nicholson versus Raven Chapman. Now, this for me was an absolutely beautiful boxing masterclass. The feat of Sky Nicholson. The joy that she has when she's boxing, right? For me, like puts a smile on my face. She's smiling when she's evading punches and flicking out that jab and they're landing. I don't see, there's footballers that smile like people like Ronaldinho when he's playing ball. He's smiling, he's loving. You can just see he's loving it. He's having fun with it.
Yeah, like Anthony as well.
Yeah, that's what I see. That's what I see with Sky Nicholson. Yeah. She is absolutely having pure joy in there. And to people, boxing purists that love the art of boxing, we're also enjoying the fullness of that as well.
I've never seen someone smile so much in a boxing fight. Bro, you're meant to be like oozing in pain and like just sweating and not really enjoying it. But she enjoys her boxing, and a happy fight is a dangerous fight, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And you can see the confidence in Sky, barely losing. I don't remember. I don't think she lost a round. Maybe one or two. But yeah, maybe one or two. But look, Sky, I did think Sky was gonna outclass Raven. But to be honest, it was just an amazing demonstration of what a boxing mover does, right? And I think Sky's next fight is gonna be I think it's a mandatory for the WBC. I don't know the fighter's name. Apologies, but. After that, if Sky wins, do we see that like Amanda Serrano fight?
Listen, they need to get that on. Amanda Serrano, sign the thing, okay? Speak to Turkey. We'll sort the thing out. Now, listen, we've only got like a couple minutes left to discuss the
big one.
The
that
controversy.
Was the shock, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The shock was not even though the performance, like you thought Ben was gonna wipe. The shock was.
We have to introduce the fight before we talk about thingy.
Okay, fine.
Right.
Liam Cameron, the Sheffield Beterbiev. Versus Ben Whittaker.
Get it right. Ben Whittaker versus Liam Cameron.
I don't know after that, though.
That's the way it was built.
Meant to be. I don't know after that, though.
That's the way it was built. But listen, I don't know what happened to Ben. Like, Ben wasn't showing his skills and his flair that Saudi paid the money for.
Where was the showboating, Ben? Do you know what I don't rate? Look, a lot of people have messaged me saying, "Joe, get onto him," and I'm like, "Bro, call him a quitter." I'm not gonna call him a quitter because I don't know. Like, I need to hear him out first about the injury. But what I saw and what a lot of people saw, I couldn't see where he injured his right leg. I couldn't see it. The one thing that I will get onto Ben about is, I rated Ben because he used to do that showboating, right? And I was like, oh, Ben, if you continue doing that showboat, I'll rate it. But he just looks like a bully now, doing it to journeymen, just trying to outshow journeymen. So when a fighter's game and gives it to you, where's the cockiness there? Where's the arrogance? Where's the bravado? Where's the belittling that you said for the whole fight? Like, I don't rate that. I really don't respect that. And I just didn't like it. I didn't like it. Like, when there's a game fire, he don't want to show up. I just didn't like it, bro, to be honest.
Yeah, to be honest with you, the controversy of the going over the ropes is some WWE business. Yeah. The controversy of going over the ropes is a separate subject. There's loads of people, and let us know in the comments what you think about that. Whether you think he took the easy way out, or whether he could have been injured. Who knows? By the time this comes out, we might have a scan. We might have a situation that we know exactly what happened. But for me, that is just a controversial element that we can debate on.
Yeah.
What we do know definitively is that the fight was turning its tide in the way of Liam. And if the fight continued in that way, it looked like Liam was going to end up winning the fight. And, you know, sadly, we talk about stocks going up and down, but Ben's stock has gone down in this in this fight.
But you know what's mad? There's always a viral moment with Ben Whittaker. Even any fight is always viral with him, innit? So I respect that in a way, but in all honesty, like you said, like we need to see a scan. We need to hear from Ben first. That's why I don't want to say, oh, he quit or he's not. No, I'm not gonna do that because I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna be that person that says this person's a quitter when I haven't got all the facts and information. But what I can say is the showburn I was really disappointed in. I think they have to rematch. That's the next fight for both of them. Like nothing else. They need to wrong those rights.
Yeah, but
right those wrongs.
Me knowing Ben Shalom, that probably is not going to happen. Now, well, as in that people are
They
not
can
going to
headline
expect.
in the UK though.
People are not going to expect Ben Shalom to let him go back in there with Liam because Liam looks like Liam's got a
For
point
the
to
respect, he should.
He should. No, I agree. I agree, 100% sure. But let us know what you think about that fight and all the fights that we've discussed today in the comments below. Big shout out to Big Frank once again, Mr. King of the heavyweights. If we think about the heavyweights that Big Frank has got, let us know in the comments below your ranking of all of Big Frank's heavyweights. Now, that's about all we got time for today. I've been David Alorka.
And I've been Jo Aujla.
Thank you for watching The Squared Circle. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. In fact, we're going to wait for a second just to give you time to hit that subscribe button. That's right. And also, please click that like button and also let us know what you think and what you want us to talk about on the next episode of The Squared Circle. We're out of here.
See you later.